Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. My name's Daniel, and in today's video I'm going to talk about astral entities and my experiences. Now there's a bit of a pause behind me saying that because it's a little bit crazy, like it's a little bit wacky, it's a little bit out there, but just like with everything in life, it doesn't matter what we call it, it is what it is. Okay, now I know there's probably some people out there who share these experiences. I know there are. I've spoken to some of you directly, but yeah, it's one of those ones where just letting it fly. You know, it's about growth through vulnerability and an extension of authenticity. So without any further ado, buckle up, because yeah, we're gonna get into it and talk about the astral plane and astral entities and my experiences with them. Okay, so before we actually go into it, what is the astral world, the astral plane? I guess one way to describe it is the astral world is basically a world that exists around us right now. It's just on a level, at a frequency that's not perceivable by the human eye. Some people can perceive and see the things that reside in the astral plane or in the astral world. It just requires a certain sensitivity, I guess. I think some of us have higher functionalities active at the moment or are still developing, and at times we get a little glimpse into that world. Now, people who can see the aura, for example, or to see energy around people, or to view any form of subtle energies, are actually having a glimpse into, or at least find themselves close to having a glimpse into the astral world. An analogy that's helped me previously is the idea of, like, imagine we all lived under the sea, and one of the fish, one of us, one day managed to swim to the surface and find the ceiling of the sea and peek out and see that this other world that we didn't know about, that's there. You know, no one's gone up there and had a look yet, but this fish has done it and saw things flying and trees and all sorts, and been like, what the hell? You know, come back down and be like, dude, there's stuff up there, honestly. Like, if you can make it, like, it's crazy. And obviously, if these fish have never even wandered anywhere near to the surface before, it's gonna sound like tomfoolery, to put it politely. So that's pretty much how the astral works, how I understand it, shall I say. And so yeah, with that in mind, let's crack on into my experiences with the astral. You know, before we move on, I just wanna point out and just highlight and just observe myself for a second. I'm living the aspect of self-consciousness. I'm becoming distinctly aware of how self-conscious I'm becoming making this video, and I think this is it's important. It's important. I mean, whenever we feel this level of discomfort, I mean, with vulnerability, this isn't going to be a video about vulnerability, okay? But we're going to squeeze it in because it has its place. When it comes to being vulnerable, sometimes it's scary, isn't it? It's there's no way to say it. It's just scary. Like, sometimes when you put your heart out there, it can be a scary thing because, geez, like, your heart's out, and that can be quite a sensitive thing. Like, sometimes a sharp breeze might leave it bruised, you know what I'm saying, depending on how sensitive you are. And so just becoming aware of just how self-conscious I'm becoming about this means that I'm probably going to receive a certain amount of growth from this. So they say speak even if your voice shakes, so let's get into it. Okay, when we go to sleep, our essence, our consciousness leaves the body, and it in effect goes into the astral and beyond. Okay, so it's not really a rare function. In fact, every night, every time we go to sleep and our consciousness leaves the body, again, as I said, it travels into, through and beyond the astral realms. Now, there are many ways to get into the astral. We've got things like astral projection, which is a technique where you consciously project your consciousness out of the body. People can experience the astral realm via meditation, We can enter into the astral through being lucid in dreams. Some people experience the astral world in near-death experiences. So there's a lot of ways where people can experience and have experienced this astral world. For me personally, it's come about in one way predominantly. The very first time it happened was when I was 16. I was lying in my bed. It was early in the morning, and I heard my mum say, "Dan." Now, you know when you're asleep and you hear like a parent call you, and you're thinking, "I'm too tired to wake up and respond right now. I'm gonna wait for them to call the second time, then I'll go and see what's what." And so I'm laying there and I'm thinking, okay, let me just wait for the second call. And the second call never came, and I couldn't work out whether she actually needed me or whether she was just waiting for me to actually go. And so I thought to myself, all right, let me find out what's what. And so I went to move and I couldn't move my body, and I was like, this is bizarre, like what is this? How come I can't move my body? And then I kind of got up and I looked at my legs, and they were there in the blanket, underneath the blankets, and I looked around and I looked at my head. It was on the pillow, like my shoulders were there, and I kind of went back behind my eyes. I was like, how come I can't move my body? It didn't make sense. Now, in that moment, I didn't clock that I shouldn't be able to look at my own head and look at my own shoulders. But I did it anyway. They didn't register, so I've gone back behind my eyelids. Like coming out of the body, you can see the whole room, but then going back behind the eyelids, it's just like having your eyes closed. And so I'm behind my eyelids and I'm starting to worry. Like I can't move my body. Like what on earth is going on? Like I need to go and find out what my mum was calling me for. And so I began to get a little bit of a panic. You know, like what on earth is happening? Like, am I dead? You don't know what the hell is going on. I'm 16 now. What on earth is happening? And then what happened, this is where the astral entity comes into it. At the end of my bed, on the right hand side, there is a window. And through the window came this shadow. Like, it's just a shadow, right? Gets freaky, just hanging there. The shadow just floated down the end, it was the end of the bed, and then came right up to the side of the bed, right in front of where my face is. And I thought to myself, like, what the hell, innit? Like, what the hell? And so I've gone back behind my eyelids, like, because I'm thinking, like, now this is crazy. But then I had this great feeling go through me, which said, hold on a minute, is that the reason why I can't move my body? Like, and then this, like, how very dare you? This is my body, and I will move this body if I choose to move this body. You don't have dominion over me. Like, this great sense of I am just washed over me as if I was some superhero or something. I don't know where it came from, but it was real, you know. And so I began to fight my eyelids. They wouldn't open. They would flicker, but they wouldn't fully open. Anyway, I managed to open them enough to see the thing that was in front of me. Now, by the time I opened my eyes, it was no longer this shadowy creature. It had morphed and changed into something that was horrifying and terrifying. Now, the image at the time was this reptilian. It had eyes on the nose and the mouth, and the facial features just like normal, but it was constantly morphing and moving in and of itself, and it was right in front of my face, and I just went whoa and ducked straight around my eyelids, and it was terrifying. I said to myself, oh my gosh, and like this is awful. Like, what on earth is happening, you know? But then, like, as quickly as I got scared, as quick as that feeling came back, like, how dare you? Like, how dare you? Like, this is my body. I don't care how scary you are. This is my body. I should be able to move it. So I fought my eyelids again, just to prove that it's my body and I will move it if I choose to. And I did it again, and I saw it again, and it scared the life out of me again. So I went back behind my eyelids again. I was like, alright, cool. I ain't even trying to open my eyes again. Cool. And as soon as I relaxed into that, it's like I came out of my body again and slowly watched it go at the end of the bed, out the window, and then just this wonderful silence. Like, now this silence was there for about 5 or 10 seconds, and I could feel the blankets on me now. I could feel them, they were there. I could feel the pillow on the side of my face. I could hear the birds out the window. I could feel the blankets on my legs, and I opened my eyes and everything was normal, as you would imagine when you wake up. And I laid there thinking, like, what the hell just happened? What on earth was that? And I waited a little while, and then I thought, right, let me go and see what my mum wanted. So I got out of the bed, I went to where my mum was, poked my head round, and I said, Mum, was you calling me? And she said, no. I said, Mum, you didn't call me about 5 minutes ago or so. She's like, no. I was like, okay. So I went back and got myself back into bed. Now, that was the first time I had experienced astral travel, at least being out of body. And I since learned a lot about what actually happened in that time. Now, let's get into that. Okay, when we go to sleep, we have a self-awareness function. Okay, now when we go to sleep, that self-awareness function switches off, and that is where our consciousness can leave the body and go out into the astral and beyond to do what it does. Like when we finish doing what we're doing here in the physical, we go out of the body and do other work. You know, we do other stuff, and we'll probably get into dreams and all of those other things, all other types of shenanigans, you know. And when your consciousness is coming back into the body, we fully reintegrate, and then that self-awareness function kicks back in. Now, what happened to me at that point, at that time, is that my aspect, my soul, whatever you want to call it, my consciousness that's associated with Dan, was returning to the body, and the self-awareness mechanism kicked in too soon. So I became self-aware before I had fully integrated into the body. Now, I wasn't conscious of that at the time, so therefore panic ensued. Now, and what happened is I attracted a very low-level astral entity. Now, I'm about to explain something that sounds scary on the surface, but really it is far from scary. Okay, now in the astral realm, there are these low-level entities as well as other level entities out there, but this one particularly was a very low-level entity, and these entities are unable to generate their own energy. Think about physical reptilians, not even reptilians, reptiles. If you think about a reptile, they're cold-blooded. They're not able to generate their own body temperature, their own body heat, so they need to go and sit out in the sun in order to get warm and to function properly. Now, these low-level entities that exist in the fourth dimension, the type that I encountered at that moment, is a kind of entity that doesn't generate its own energy. What it does is it searches around for people who maybe feel panicked or feel angry or feeling sad, you know, because the human generates a huge amount of energy, a huge amount. Thought creates. When we think anything, it sends out an energy ripple. When we feel things, it pulses out of us, etc. And so what happened is this astral entity doesn't have a form. Like I said, it was just this cloud of sentient energy came next to me, and what it's able to do is it searches our mindset and projects to us an image that it knows we will find scary. All right, and that is why by the time I managed to open my eyes and see it, it had just the perfect form to terrify me, because the fear that I began giving off is the thing that ultimately gives it its sustenance. Now, it sounds very, you can decide how that sounds, okay? But this is basically how I understand how these things work. Now, moving on. Actually, before we move on, I think it's important to understand this. What that situation taught me is it showed me the fears that I had inside me still. It showed me the fears that I was carrying inside. And ultimately, it's the subsequent experiences that I had in the astral done the same. Now, if you think about life in general, life always brings to our attention the fears that we're carrying inside. It shows us them ultimately so we can see them, acknowledge them, recognize them, integrate the associated lessons, and let them go. Now, you know what life is like. Sometimes we don't listen too good, and so it gets creative. This is why there's a lot to be said about negativity and discomfort, and if we can learn to change our relationship with those things, then I think we'd advance as human beings in an evolutionary sense, especially at a soul level, a lot quicker. Okay, we fast forward. I'm 24. There's been at this point, I'm thinking I'm at a stage in my life where I am purposely, consciously trying to astral travel. I've researched the methodalities, the modalities, and the hows to go about it, and I'm at home and I'm practicing. Okay, I'll tell you about a failed attempt where I consciously tried to do it, and yeah, it's just so scary, that little crossover moment. Anybody who's done astral travel and gone through this process will know what I'm talking about right now, I promise you. So I'm laying down and I'm going through the motions, and I'm projecting my consciousness up and out of the body. I'm taking myself to that dream state, to the sleep state, but I'm keeping my consciousness in place. I'm sending my body to sleep, but I'm keeping my mind awake. All right, now what happens when you're starting to do that effectively is that you begin it's insane, right? You begin to feel your essence shoot up through your crown. Okay, and it's like an aeroplane taking off. This rumble happens, and I'm telling you, man, if you need such bravery just to go through with that and to let it take you off and out. But at this time, I just weren't brave enough. All right, and so yeah, it was about to happen, and I was like, oh my gosh. I snapped back into the room, right, and I had goosebumps over every aspect of my body. But anyway, that experience happened not long before this experience that I'm about to talk about. So it's a friend's birthday, and we're out in Bexley, all right, and we're all having a good time and whatnot, and I end up missing the last train, so I had to stay at a friend's house. So before going to bed, like, I remember having conversations with them, saying, like, oh, do you have like ghosts here? Like, it's a real conversation now, by the way. Like, do you believe in ghosts and things like that? And they was just like, yeah, I believe in ghosts. Like, I'm pretty sure there's one here, and I'm not sure it's very nice. And I'm like, don't worry about it. I got this pesky, mischievous one in my house who's always trying it. Like, but I put them outside, and that, you know, just, if you know me, right, and I'm open with you like that, we're gonna have these conversations. So just get used to it. Anyway, bedtime, going to sleep. I'm in the bed, I'm sleeping, and I'm having a dream now. Now this one begins like I'm in a dream, and the dream kind of recreates that conversation I was having with them. And I said to them, okay, so do you believe in ghosts? And they was just like, yeah, I got a ghost here. And I goes, oh, do you know what their name is? And then they goes, yeah, I know their name. Their name is Andrea. And I said, Andrea? All right, Andrea, where you at? Come out. Do you know what I mean? Naive. Next thing you know, boom, I'm in bed. I can't move my body again, right? But this time, at the end of the bed, is just this white, humanoid, pulsing light being at the end of the bed, and you can feel the vibrations coming up the legs. You can just feel it pulsating up through your legs. Like, it's insane. I'm laying there, my body's to the side, the person is next to me there, they are facing me in this moment in time, and they had a wardrobe over on the right hand side of the room, but it was a mirror wardrobe, so I was able to look into the mirror to see what's at the end of the bed, like triangulate. So as I'm laying there, I'm thinking to myself, like, what is that at the end of the bed? Is this Andrea? Like, what have I done? You know what I mean? It wasn't scary, it was just insane, like the energy pulsing of this thing. And so I'm thinking, I need to see it. Do you know what I mean? I need to see this. The mirror isn't enough. I need to look at this. And so I'm doing that thing with my eyes again. I'm trying so hard to open them, but my eyes isn't enough, because yes, I can see the reflection, but I want to look at it. Do you know what I mean? So what I managed to do was lift my head up a bit, look at it, and be like, oh my days. And then my head just fell back on the bed. And then like, it wasn't much longer later that it just went to that moment where it just went like poof, and it was just silent again. And then it was like, okay, I'm laying in that exact position that I was in like before. I couldn't move my body. I'm in the same position. The only thing that was different is that the person laying next to me wasn't facing me, they was facing the other way. And I was just there like, what the hell? Like, now it was just crazy. Like, I couldn't make sense of it at that time. Right, fast forwarding, I later learned what happened in that moment in time. Now, when I was being so fast with my damn self, talking about Anja, where you at, come on out, what that would have done is it would have brought the vibration of the area to a point that wouldn't have been to a stage that wouldn't have been beneficial for me. Okay, now because I was already staying in an area that was foreign to me, it's not a place I lived in. Now let me just put in there, we're all protected, we're all guided, we've all got a team around us, okay? And basically what happened in this moment in time is that I was about to call through an entity that was associated with the person I was staying with, that was probably of a low vibration, and the energy and the area of the energy that I was staying in, the energy of the area that I was staying in at that time was already pretty low, and to have this thing appear probably would have created problems or caused problems on some level. And so in order to prevent that from happening, the being that showed up was it was a being that helps maintain the physical structure of our universe. Now, the essence of their being is very similar to ours when we're not incarnating the body, and by having them show up and prevent the energies of the area dropping, it's just a polite way of saying prevent some unnecessary shenanigans taking place. To prevent that from happening, this being showed up in order to stop that. So it really is like when they say that we've got like guardian angels and help and all of those kind of things, like, this is my first-hand experience of that actually being the case. And we all have that. We all have that, and it was just mental to be able to look at it. What I learned, what I found out is if you got a plasma screen, or I remember we used to have a BlackBerry at the time. Blackberries were the thing. I had a BlackBerry, and if you push a finger in the screen, it pulses a little bit. That's what the thing did at the end of the bed. It pulsed like that. I don't know if flat screen TVs would do that, but if you push your finger a little bit into a plasma screen, and it does that pulsing thing. This is what the thing looked like at the end of the bed. Now, the person I was staying with at the time, like, further validated the experience. Now, they wear a hearing aid, and at night they would take it out and leave it on the side. And when I asked them in the morning, did you experience anything weird last night, like any sort of weird vibrations, like, and they were just like, you know what, it's so weird, I did feel something like that, and I was gonna turn over, but I was so tired, I just thought and just went back to sleep. And I was just like, you know, that's enough for me, I'll take that. Anything to say that what just happened, like, what the hell, I can work with that and live with that. Okay, so let's fast forward to, this probably was about 4 years ago, maybe even 5. Now, what happened this in between then and then in between that last experience and that experience, there were a multitude of other mini experiences in between, but in light of trying to keep this video short as possible and not to waffle on about stuff that aren't as significant as these ones, we're just going to jump to this one and call this the last experience I'll talk about. Okay, so what happened in this experience is I'm laying in the bed, and I realize that thing happens where I'm like, I'm in my body but I can't move it again, like, this is so annoying. Right, how do I wake myself up? Now, what can I do? Now, I'm thinking, if I can wake up the mother of my kids, then she can wake me up and I can move the body. And so I'm like, right, here's what I'm gonna do. I know I can move my body a little bit sometimes. Let me see if I can do something. So what I managed to do is lift my arm up and just rest it there. And I'm thinking, that is not gonna do nothing. She's probably just gonna think I'm just chilling or sleeping or whatever. And so I'm thinking, okay, Dan, scream as loud as you can. And all you do is nothing comes out. Obviously, you're not integrate in your body. There's nothing actually going to be able to actually come out. And so I'm just like rolling my eyes inwardly, like, what the hell? And then all of a sudden, what happened is one of those astral entities came back, and it went towards the end of the bed, and I saw it, and I was just like, oh my gosh. Now, but at this point and at this time, the image that it was able to project to me was literally just its original shadow self, but with eyes like this. It was just white eyes, beaming white eyes, just like that, okay? And obviously I saw it and I was just like, whoa. And then a part of me was just like, no, but Dan, you know this, you remember this. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, I broke through again. I'm in the astral plane, I'm in the astral realm. Are there more like you? Can you take me to them? What can you teach me before I wake up? You know, what can I learn in this place? Like, where are the places to go? Are there more like you? Teach me stuff. And I'm telling you now, my excitement and curiosity went through the roof, and it became terrified and took off. I mean, I had finally done it. I've broken through. For the longest time, I wanted to get back into the astral, not be scared, and meet some dudes, some things, and bring back some knowledge that's going to help us progress. You know what I'm saying? And I finally did it, and this thing took off. This thing got scared and bounced. Anyway, the process and the experience seemed to be put in place for me to get over the fear to some degree and to some level. I haven't fully embraced or got in touch with the why yet, but there's a reason for everything. There's a reason for everything. None of us are the complete product and finished yet. I'm still evolving, I'm still becoming. I'm interested to see where these kind of experiences are attempting to take me. I haven't consciously tried to go back for a long time, but connecting with various individuals who are way more versed in this experiences than I am is really rekindling my curiosity and excitement, key emotions. And so yeah, it's probably something I'll align with, and especially doing this video as well, like putting this out there and letting it fly. Like, I wonder who it makes you wonder, who's it going to connect to? What kind of conversations is going to come from this? Who is it going to reach that says, oh my gosh, yes, I had that happen too, and blah blah blah. You just never know what it's going to do. Like the response from some of the videos I've put out already has already blown me away, and it's been insane, the kind of momentum that it's generated. So who knows? But with that being said, these are my standout experiences when it comes to the astral realm and meeting the astral entities. There are other experiences that I've experienced, like via meditation and other beings that I've met, but it's not like using my physical eyes. Like if I close my eyes and meditate, then yeah, my consciousness can go elsewhere and I see other beings in my mind's eye, but that's a whole nother thing. But in terms of looking at things with what appears to be my physical eyes, these have been my experiences. Anyway, I suppose I better wrap it up there. This video has gone on for quite some time. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been helpful in some way. It wasn't supposed to be some sort of education on what the astral realm is and is about and how to do it, etc. It's literally just supposed to be a video about my experiences with my understanding on those. So with that, as I said, I hope it's been useful. I hope you've enjoyed it. I can't believe I'm about to let this fly, but yeah, whatever. My name's Dan, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.